Law 1. Never outshine the master. Make those above you feel comfortably superior. Never show off your talent too openly, or you risk creating fear and insecurity in your superior. Example: an employee who quietly lets their boss take credit for a joint idea in a meeting while positioning themselves as the boss's most valuable supporter often gets promoted faster than one who publicly claims the win. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Friends can betray you quickly out of envy. Former enemies, once won over, often become more loyal because they have more to prove. Example: Abraham Lincoln famously appointed rivals who had opposed him, like Edwin Stanton, into his cabinet, turning them into some of his most devoted allies. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Keep people off balance by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they don't know what you want, they can't counter it. Example: a company quietly acquiring smaller competitors' patents before announcing a new product line prevents rivals from blocking the move in advance. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. The more you say, the more ordinary and exposed you appear. Powerful people often let silence create an impression of depth and control. Example: in negotiations, a skilled negotiator answers briefly and lets silence pressure the other side into revealing more information or conceding first. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Reputation is a cornerstone of power. Once it falls, you are vulnerable to attack. Guard it carefully and use it to intimidate rivals. Example: a brand that suffers one scandal often invests heavily and immediately in PR and transparency campaigns because a damaged reputation invites competitors to attack its market share. Law 6. Court attention at all cost. Everything is judged by its visibility. Standing out, even through controversy, is better than blending into the crowd. Example: early in his career, Salvador Dali staged bizarre public stunts to ensure his name was constantly in the press, building fame faster than his art alone would have. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Use the skill, knowledge, and labor of others to accomplish your goals. Then ensure your name is attached to the result. Example: a manager who assembles a talented team to solve a technical problem, then presents the finished solution to executives as their own strategic vision, gains credit for the team's labor. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Whoever is forced to act first out of anger or desperation is always at a disadvantage. Lure others into approaching you on your terms. Example: a luxury brand that deliberately limits supply creates scarcity, forcing eager customers to seek out the product rather than the brand chasing buyers. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Any momentary triumph from winning an argument is outweighed by the resentment it creates. Demonstrate, don't debate. Example: rather than arguing that a new workflow is better, a manager quietly implements it on a small team and lets the visible results persuade skeptics. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Negative emotional states and bad luck are contagious. Associate instead with the confident and successful. Example: investors often avoid partnering with founders who have a pattern of failed ventures and toxic team disputes, regardless of their pitch quality. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Your position is secure only if others need you. The more they depend on you for their happiness and prosperity, the more freedom you have. Example: a consultant who trains a client's staff just enough to need ongoing guidance rather than making the client fully self sufficient secures repeat contracts. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. One sincere, honest act can cover for dozens of dishonest ones, opening the door to future deception. Example: a salesperson who first offers a genuinely helpful, free piece of advice earns enough trust that the customer lowers their guard for the sales pitch that follows. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. People help most readily when they see something in it for themselves, not out of pity or a sense of obligation. Example: a charity that shows donors the tax benefits and public recognition of giving often raises more than one that only appeals to sympathy. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Learn everything about your rivals and associates by appearing friendly while quietly gathering useful information. Example: a business owner who chats casually with a competitor's former employee at an industry event can learn valuable insights about their strategy without ever asking directly. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. A half defeated enemy will recover and seek revenge. Neutralize threats completely rather than leaving them wounded. Example: in corporate takeovers, an acquirer will often absorb a rival's key staff, customers, and patents entirely, leaving no base from which the rival could rebuild. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Too much circulation makes you common. A well timed disappearance makes people miss you and value you more. Example: a popular musician who steps away from public releases for a year often returns to greater demand and media coverage than if they had released material constantly. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictability gives others a sense of control over you. Occasional unexpected action keeps them off balance and respectful. Example: a manager known for unannounced but fair spot checks tends to see more consistent effort from a team than one with a fixed, predictable review schedule. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. Isolation cuts you off from useful information and allies, leaving you exposed rather than protected. Example: an executive who withdraws entirely from company social events loses touch with moral issues and internal politics, often getting blindsided by problems others saw coming. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Different people require different approaches. Misjudging someone's temperament or influence can cause serious backlash. Example: a junior employee who publicly mocks a quiet colleague may not realize that colleague has close ties to senior leadership, resulting in unexpected professional consequences. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Maintain your independence by refusing full allegiance to any one side, keeping your options and alliances flexible. Example: a skilled mediator in a divorce case stays neutral to both parties, preserving credibility and future business from either side. Law 21. Play a soccer to catch a soccer. Seem dumber than your mark, letting others feel intellectually superior, lowers their guard, making them easier to outmaneuver. Example: a savvy negotiator asks basic, seemingly naive questions, encouraging the other party to over explain and reveal their actual bottom line. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. When you are weaker, surrendering rather than fighting a losing battle buys time to recover and turn the tables later. Example: a startup facing a lawsuit from a much larger company may settle quickly and cooperatively, preserving resources to fight more strategic battles down the road. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Focused, intense effort in one area achieves more than scattered energy spread across many fronts. Example: a small business that focuses all its marketing budget on dominating one niche often outcompetes rivals who spread thin budgets across many markets. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Master the subtle art of diplomacy, flattery, and reading a room to thrive within organizational hierarchies. Example: an employee who learns to praise a boss's ideas genuinely while offering suggestions as questions. What if we tried? Tends to rise faster than a blunt critic. Law 25. Recreate yourself. Don't accept the role society assigns to you. Craft a public identity and persona that commands attention and respect. Example: many entertainers adopt stage names and curated public personas distinct from their private selves to build a stronger, more marketable image. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. Avoid direct association with dirty work or mistakes. Use intermediaries so blame falls elsewhere. Example, a CEO orders layoffs but has HR deliver the news, distancing themselves personally from the negative reaction. Law 27, play on people's need to believe to create a cult like following. People crave belief and belonging. Offering a vision or cause can create devoted, almost unquestioning followers. Example, charismatic startup founders who frame their company as a mission to change the world often inspire employees to work far beyond normal expectations. Law 28, enter action with boldness. Hesitation broadcasts weakness, bold, confident action, even with some risk, earns respect and often succeeds through sheer audacity. Example, a new manager who confidently restructures an inefficient process in their first month earns more credibility than one who waits cautiously for permission. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Consider the long term consequences of your actions before beginning, avoiding future problems caused by short term thinking. Example, a company expanding into a new market studies exit strategies and worst case scenarios before signing contracts, avoiding costly entanglements later. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. Concealing the hard work behind your success makes your abilities appear more natural and impressive. Example, a public speaker who rehearses extensively but performs as if speaking spontaneously appears more naturally talented than one who visibly reads from notes. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. Present choices in a way where every option benefits you, giving others the illusion of freedom while you control the outcome. Example, a car salesperson who offers either this trim or that trim, both profitable, rather than asking, do you want to buy, keeps the customer engaged and moving toward a sale. Law 32, play to people's fantasies. People prefer pleasant illusions to harsh truths. Appeal to what they wish were true, and they will follow you. Example, marketing campaigns that sell an aspirational lifestyle, freedom, adventure, romance, rather than plain product specs consistently outperform purely factual ads. Law 33, discover each man's thumbscrew. Everyone has a weakness, insecurity, or hidden need. Find it and you gain leverage over them. Example, a manager who learns an employee's deep desire for recognition assigns visible, credit-worthy projects to that employee to secure their loyalty and effort. Law 34, be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king. To be treated like one, people treat you the way you present yourself. Carry yourself with confidence and dignity, and others will grant you respect. Example, a job candidate who enters an interview with calm, confident posture and language is often perceived as more competent than one who appears nervous, regardless of equal qualifications. Law 35, master the art of timing. Rushing or delaying at the wrong moment ruins good plans. Patience and awareness of timing multiply your effectiveness. Example, a negotiator who waits for the other side to face a deadline pressure before making a final offer secures better terms than one who rushes to close early. Law 36, disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Reacting to minor insults or unattainable things gives them power over you. Ignoring them denies them that power. Example, a brand that stays silent and unbothered by a smaller competitor's public jabs often appears more powerful than one that engages in public feuds. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Striking visual displays and symbols communicate power more effectively than words alone. Example, a tech company's elaborate theatrical product launch event generates more buzz and perceived value than a simple press release with the same information. Law 38, think as you like but behave like others. Openly displaying unconventional beliefs invites suspicion. Conform outwardly while keeping your true opinions private. Example, an employee with unconventional political views keeps them out of workplace conversations, avoiding unnecessary conflict while pursuing their career goals. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish, provoking anger in others, clouds their judgment, making them easier to manipulate or defeat. Example, a skilled debater deliberately needles an opponent's insecurity, causing them to respond emotionally and lose credibility with the audience. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. What is offered for free often comes with hidden strings or costs. Paying your own way preserves independence and respect. Example, a business that avoids free investor money with unfavorable strings attached, instead securing a fair priced loan, retains more control over long term decisions. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Successors to a great leader are inevitably compared unfavorably. Forge your own path and identity instead of imitating a predecessor. Example, a new CEO replacing a beloved founder often struggles until they stop trying to mimic the founder's style and instead establish their own distinct vision. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. Trouble often stems from one influential figure. Neutralize the source of opposition and the followers lose direction. Example, in organizational conflict, resolving tension with a single vocal ringleader often dissolves a broader group grievance more effectively than addressing every complainer individually. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Coercion breeds resentment and resistance. Genuine persuasion through emotional connection creates lasting loyalty. Example, a brand that builds real community engagement and listens to customer feedback earns long term loyalty that heavy handed advertising alone cannot buy. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect, mimicking someone's actions or words back at them, can unsettle and confuse them, exposing their own behavior. Example, a negotiator who calmly repeats an aggressive counterpart's own demanding tone back to them often causes the other side to soften and reconsider their approach. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. Sorin, sweeping change breeds resistance. Introduce reforms gradually while honoring familiar traditions. Example, a new manager who wants to overhaul team processes introduces changes one at a time over months rather than all at once to avoid overwhelming resistance. Law 46. Never appear too perfect. Excessive perfection breeds envy and hidden enemies. Showing occasional harmless flaws makes you more relatable and less threatening. Example, a highly successful colleague who openly shares a minor, humanizing mistake is often better liked by peers than one who never admits any weakness. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. Overreaching after a win can turn a triumph into a downfall. Know when to consolidate gains and stop pushing. Example, a company that wins a major contract but tries to aggressively renegotiate even more favorable terms afterward risks souring the relationship and losing future business. Law 48. Assume formlessness. Rigid plans and fixed identities become predictable targets. Stay adaptable, and you become nearly impossible to pin down or defeat rather than clinging to one product. Survives industry shifts that rigid competitors do not. This was the summary from Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. Subscribe for more